This is a Rides and Drives test drive of the 2022 Hyundai Tucson. The Hyundai Tucson is a compact crossover that competes with the Honda CR-V, the Toyota RAV4, the Ford Escape, and a number of other vehicles. So this is the 2022 Hyundai Tucson. We're not even through April yet, and I'm driving 2022 model cars. This is an all-new car. It starts from the ground up with a brand new platform. It's a third generation platform for the fourth generation of the Tucson. They did a number of things to make this platform more rigid, and it also is more advanced in terms of safety design. So you have a full surround cage to absorb any of the energy in a crash, which should make this more crash worthy. They said they are shooting for that IIHS Safety Plus rating with this vehicle. We'll find out once they get it out in the market and get it tested whether they'll actually meet that. The Tucson is a global platform, but North America obviously is a very important market for Hyundai. So the car we get here is a little different than the car that's going to be sold in Korea and other markets around the world, because we get an extended wheelbase version of this. It's a little longer, gives you more room in the back seat, which is good because typically in these compact SUVs, there isn't a lot of rear seat legroom. Hyundai claims that rear seat legroom in this is best in class. So you've got a lot of those types of upgrades just from the platform itself. The Tucson is currently available with two powertrains, a 2.5 liter four-cylinder gas engine, and then a hybrid which has a 1.6 liter turbocharged engine plus the electric motor to help drive that. Then you have the option of front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, and their H-Track all-wheel drive is a torque vectoring system that can move the power anywhere from 100% front-wheel drive to 50-50 front and rear, and they even have a coupling to lock that 50-50 balance in case you're doing some light off-roading and you want to make sure you've got traction at all four wheels. So you've got four drive modes in this. You've got normal, sport, smart, which kind of does it for you, and then snow mode, so that when things get a little compromised on the pavement, you get better traction. In normal mode, this car with the base engine drives like you would expect. There's not a lot of pickup. When you go into sport mode, it really changes the throttle response to make it more dynamic, and it tells the transmission to hold the shifts longer, so you get more out of the top end of the engine where the power is, and it really does help this thing come to life quite a bit. I spent a little time this morning on some unpaved roads, and was really impressed with the all-wheel drive system on this, and the hybrid powertrain, which puts a lot more horsepower in at your disposal than the base model, which the base model is about 180 horsepower. You get a little more than 220 in the regular hybrid, and then when you go to the plug-in hybrid, that'll be about 260 horsepower. All the Tucsons, regardless of what trim level you get and which engine and transmission, will be able to tow 2,000 pounds if you spend $450 and get the optional trailer tow package on this. In base trim, it's a really well-equipped vehicle with some good, solid safety features like forward collision avoidance, Lane departure warning and lane centering comes standard. So when you get to the higher trim levels, you get a lot more safety content. Everything from adaptive cruise control and lane centering, which work together for your highway driving assistance mode, and that works really well. You also have blind spot warning with mitigation, so if you try to change lanes and someone's there, it'll nudge you back into your lane. And you know, all the good features that you expect from a premium SUV. This Tucson is all new platform, new powertrains, all new technology on the inside, new seats, everything, and a whole new design on the exterior. And this is where things get interesting, because this is where they get polarizing. It's not for everybody. This kind of picks up on that design theme that Hyundai started with Elantra, with a lot of the angles on the side and the cascading grille on the front. And they talked about it this morning. I talked to the designer, and he said, look, we really wanted to get away from the traditional face of a car where you see two eyes and all of that stuff. And so if you'll notice on this, the daytime running lamps are kind of integrated into the grille, and they are in this behind this mirrored laser etched lens, and so they kind of disappear until you turn the lights on, and it provides a pretty interesting look. Overall the shape is the fairly conventional compact SUV shape, but they've really taken some aggressive steps in the design of this to make it stand out from everything else in the category. Pricing starts at about $24,000 for the base front-wheel drive gas engine model. Then if you move up into that hybrid all-wheel drive and you get the limited, you're going to top out at over $37,000. That might seem like a lot of money, but Hyundai is doing in this what Hyundai does best, and they're just packing it full of features. So for that $37,000 in an all-wheel drive hybrid version, not only do you get that really nice powertrain and the all-new chassis and new exterior design, but you've got a full digital cockpit, heated and ventilated seats. You've got this really nice panoramic moonroof on top that covers all the way back and opens really wide if you want to let the air in. Okay, so, you know, driving this vehicle, there's a number of things. It's quiet. They've done a really good job with wind noise. The road noise is what you would expect from a mainstream compact SUV, which means it's very similar to the Honda CR-V, Toyota RAV4, Ford Escape in terms of how it drives and what it feels like. You can really tell the difference in power between the base engine and the hybrid powertrain. That just is a much more engaging driving experience than this base model. The one thing you'll have to get used to with the hybrid, though, is braking, because it uses regenerative braking to put more energy back into the battery. And when you first touch the brakes, if you're driving that car, it can be really aggressive. So you need to learn to modulate the brakes a little more in the hybrid than in a standard car where you have a typical progressive braking feel. Everybody seems to want to make their vehicles capable of doing some great off-roading, and while we didn't really off-road, we went off pavement on some pretty gnarly mountain roads this morning. I was impressed with how well the Tucson handled it. It, you know, had plenty of grip. The car felt lively, and it was, you know, entertaining, which surprised me. exterior styling. I think it feels overwrought and overworked, and they're just trying really hard to be different. But that's a subjective measure. The other thing is the infotainment system. I generally like it. I like the screens. They're bright. But going all capacitive touch on this, I don't like, because if I want to, say, adjust the temperature, I have to look down here to find the button to push. It doesn't, there's no tactile sensation down there. It's just a flat surface. Everything's where you expect it to be, but it's just not. You have to take your eyes off the road to find these things, and maybe even a little longer. I also, I'm old, so give me my volume knob, give me my tuning knob. But other than that, there's really not a lot to complain with about this vehicle. You've got plenty of leg room up front, plenty of headroom. I'm 6'3". I don't feel crowded at all, even with the sunroof. You've got a rear seat that has room for full-size adults, even with me sitting in the driver's seat. I could pretty much sit behind myself much more comfortably in this vehicle than in the CX-30 or the Encore GX. So look, if you're looking for a compact crossover, I have some favorites. The Mazda CX-30, the Ford Escape, I think, is a really well done one as well. I like the RAV4, especially in its hybrid version. And the CR-V, again, it's hard to argue with it. But with this 4th generation Tucson, I think Hyundai has put this vehicle in the conversation of a top 5 compact crossover. Put it on your shopping list, take a look at it, see what you think. If nothing else, it's a good option to the more popular vehicles in this class. And then you get those other Hyundai benefits, like a 10-year powertrain warranty, like the Hyundai Assurance Program, and all the other things that they're doing. So it's a surprising. I'm surprised by how well they've done, and I guess I shouldn't be, because I've driven a lot of Hyundais lately. I've driven the Elantra, which is quite good. The new Sonata is also excellent. The Palisade, the Veloster N is a very credible hot hatch. And so you start to look at Hyundai and you say, man, these guys are putting together a pretty formidable lineup. And it's going to be interesting to see if that now translates into taking them to that next level in sales. So that's the 2022 Hyundai Tucson. Tell us what you think in the comments. For more information, check out ridesanddrives.com and make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. For Rides and Drives, I'm Harvey Briggs, and I'll see you somewhere down the road.